All right, now that we've talked about the concepts of fixed cost, variable cost, and this other concept of mixed cost, we can now get into probably one of the more important aspects of cost accounting, and that is the idea of break-even analysis. And I think probably one of the easiest things to try to explain break-even analysis is perhaps an example, a real-life example that you may encounter. Maybe you've already encountered it at one point in your life, and now you're just trying to figure out whether. So it's very, very important. It's very, very useful. It's a great tool. Businesses use it all the time in making decisions. So let's imagine a situation where you're out and you need to shop for a new car. And in your new car buying, you've come up with the idea of two different vehicles. You've gone to the Toyota dealership, for example, and the two different vehicles are vehicle A is a Toyota Camry. And you know, everyone should know what a Toyota Camry is. It's just a simple four-door, pretty simple, reliable car. It's a four-door car, nothing fancy. They cost about $22,000 new, so the price is about $22,000, and they get approximately 30 miles per gallon as far as gas goes. All right, so that's option number A, the Toyota dealer. Option number B, also another very practical vehicle, would be something like a Toyota Prius. And a Toyota Prius, you got a Toyota Prius, and it is also a four-door car. Nothing fancy about the four-door Prius, and it costs approximately $27,000 for the Toyota Prius. But because it's a hybrid, the Toyota Prius doesn't get 30 miles per gallon. The Toyota Prius gets 55 miles per gallon. So you may kind of be looking at these two options and looking at either buying a Toyota Camry or a Toyota Prius. You say, well, Toyota Camry is less expensive up front, but the operating expense is going to be more because it only gets 30 miles per gallon, whereas the Toyota Prius, which is more expensive up front, it's $5,000 more, but the operating cost will be considerably less because it's a hybrid and it gets 55 miles per gallon. So if we were to plot this on our chart when we were talking about costs, remember the cost of ownership of a car is, what type of cost do you think it is? Is it a variable cost, is it a fixed cost, or is it a mixed cost? If you said mixed cost, you're absolutely right in the sense that if you have zero activity, the Toyota Camry has a cost of $22,000. That's regardless whether you use the car 0 miles or you use it 100,000 miles. The top cost of the Toyota Camry is $22,000. Whereas the cost of the Prius, if you have zero activity, the cost of the Prius is $27,000. So it has a fixed cost component to the cost of the vehicle. In addition, you also have the operating cost. Now, operating costs is completely variable. So if you assume that price of gas is $3.60 per gallon, which is roughly what it is, and you take $3.60 and you divide it by 30, which is the cost of, or the miles per gallon on the Prius, my calculations, I believe this is 12 cents. Let's just make sure, $3.60 divided by 30, and voila, we get 12 cents per mile. All right, so if, for example, if you drove the Toyota Camry only 1 mile, your total cost of owning that vehicle would be $22,000 plus 12 cents. So it goes up, so the cost of owning that Prius is going to go up, and this is the total cost. This includes the fixed cost plus the variable cost. And if we wanted to draw that line, the line would be, it would say $22,000 plus 0.12x. So X being the number of miles that you've driven. All right, so the Toyota Prius has a base price of $27,000, so it starts here at the $27,000 rate, but the line is going to be less, right? So you take 50, how do you figure out the line? You take 55 miles per gallon, you divide, or you take $3.60, just like we did for the Camry. Take $3.60 per gallon, we divide it by 55 cents, or I'm sorry, 55 miles per gallon, so $3.60 divided by 55, and we get little over 6 cents, so 0.65 cents. So it's roughly, it's 0.065454 repeating. And so just for sake of argument, it's basically 6.5 cents per mile. So the Toyota Prius line, it could be drawn at $27,000 plus 6.5 cents per mile is the line there. And so the intersection of these two lines, where the cost of the Camry, and again, these are total cost of ownership, where the total cost of the Camry and the total cost of the Prius intersect, this intersection is the break-even point. So this is break-even point, right? And of course, this is more activity. So more activity is going that direction. So the key is we want to know at how many miles, at where does the cost of owning the Toyota Prius, or the initial cost of owning that Toyota Prius, where does it become beneficial to own the Prius versus the Camry, which is essentially the same car, but just doesn't get as many miles per gallon, right? All right, so how can we figure this out? Well, there's a couple of different ways. One of probably the easiest mathematical ways is by setting the two lines together. So you could say $22,000, which is this line, plus 0.12x, and we would set it to the the other line, the cost of the Prius line, and it's $27,000 plus 0.065x. And then what we would do is we would solve for x. So if you remember from your days as being a student in high school, if you got $22,000 on this side and we subtract $22,000 on this side, we have to do the same thing over here, $22,000 over here. That leaves us with 5,000, right? 5,000 plus 0.065x, and that is equal to 12 cents x. And then if we subtract out 0.065x on this side, and we subtract out 0.065x on that side, then this becomes 0.055x, is that right? I think that's right. I'll just make sure. 0.0065. Yep, 0.055x, so it's a little over, or 5.5 cents x. And this is equal to 5,000. Remember, whatever you do on one side, you got to do the other. And then if we're solving for x, then we would take 0.055, divide that comes 1, and we take 5,000, and we would divide that by 0.055 on that side, and x would equal to be, let's see if we get it, 5,000 divided by 0.055, and that becomes, my math is right, 90,909, right? So 90,909 is the break-even point. So what does that mean? It means that up until 90,909 miles, you're better off owning the Toyota Camry that costs less than the Toyota Prius, which costs more, but that's better fuel efficiency. So once you get beyond the 90,909 miles, then the cost of owning the the cost of owning the Prius would be less. So that's your break-even point.